Welcome to another weekly S&P 500 analysis. This is the video version, and be sure to go and check out my newsletter, The Pulse of the Market, over at substack.com, where I have the part 1, in which I discuss the sentiment and also the market internal and the other major market indexes along with it. So be sure to go and check that out. I have the link in the description below. Now let's go and take a look at the S&P 500 and its derivative and also the NASDAQ. In this video, we're going to take a look at the price action and the price scenario for the coming week for the cash index of the S&P 500, the E-mini S&P 500 futures, the ES, and also the ETF for the S&P 500, the SPY. In addition to that, we're going to take a look at the E-mini NASDAQ 100 future, NQ, and also the NASDAQ 100 ETF, the QQQ. Now, let's take a look at the price action that took place for the past week. We notice that the S&P 500 finally came up to the 6,000 zone here on Friday and actually closed just 37 ticks above the 6,000 mark, and you can see that it just barely made it up here, and it's been bumping up against this high volume. This 6,000 price zone for quite a while, and we notice that it did not close inside of this upper range. And we can also see that the high for on Friday was 16.86. So it did come up and tag inside of this upper weekly range here before it pulled back and closed at 6,000.37. Now let's go and take a look at what the market is pricing in for the coming week. So for the coming week, the market is pricing in the upper range between 6105 and 6087.20. And notice I have the all-time high here, and the all-time high is 6147.43. So the market is not pricing in for all-time high for the coming week. Now, in addition to that, they're also pricing in the low range between 5913.60 and 5885. So it's right back near this 5900 zone. So again, we're going to be watching to see would the price be able to make a convincing move above the 6,000 level and into this 6,100 area, and then possibly come up and try to test the all-time high and maybe even put in a new all-time high. Now, if it is unable to make a convincing move above the 6,000 area and come back down, then we'd be looking at this 5,900 area once again to see would it be able to find support and build another momentum to push up again into the 6,000 and above and into the 6,100. If it is unable to hold this 5,900 zone, then we'd be watching for it to come back down and test this 5,800 area once again. So we'll be watching to see would it come down and fill this gap before it makes a new high, or makes a new high and then come down and fill this gap. We are looking for 6,100 and 5,900 with the convincing move up or down on the 6,000. So the price zone to keep an eye on for the S&P 500 in the coming week is first is 6,000, up or down, above or below. If it's above, then look for 6,100. If it's below, then look for 5,900. Looking at the ES here, let's see what happened last week. We see that, remember, we're talking about this zone here, this 5,800 and also this 6,000 zone. As you can see on Friday, it actually came up to the 6,000 zone and closed about 8 handles above the 6,000 area. And also it came into this high volume node. Remember, we were talking about this high volume node, which is in confluence with the 6,000 area. So now we're going to go and move this composite all the way to the present. And you can see that the price here at this low, we had a little dent here, a volume dent, and now it got filled in. So now it become a nice distribution here, right? That's basically, we got this low volume dent. And this is a little bit of a balance area. And we can see that there is this high volume node. And right now, we basically could look at this as a high volume zone. And we're going to move this down. So that is one of the areas that we're going to be watching for the coming week. is this high volume area here, all right, this high volume zone. So we're going to be keeping an eye on it. And now also take a look at what the market is pricing in for the coming week. So the market is actually pricing in on the low range. You see right here at this high volume node between 5923.75 and 5890. And the upper range is right at this edge here, this volume edge before we get into this low volume area here. And it is pricing between 6107.50 and 6096.25. So for the coming week, we're going to be watching for this thing to see will it continue to push up into this high volume node. This volume edge here into this upper range of the weekly expected move. Now also notice that it did not price in for a new all-time high. The all-time high is up here at 6236.50. So it's quite a little way from that. Even though if we get up to this low volume zone, I doubt that we will see the ES will come up to this all-time high unless something extraordinary that happened that fueled the market up on a big push. So on the downside, if it's come down, we probably are looking at a test of this high volume area here, and most likely we probably will find some support and then push it back up into the upper range. So those are the price scenario that we'll be watching. Now there is one possibility here. If it doesn't hold this high volume zone, then basically we're looking for this thing to come down into this low volume area, back testing the 5800 again. Remember we talking about this balance area. So price will auction from one extreme to another extreme. So if it doesn't hold and get a bounce at this high volume area, then most likely it will come down, probably test this area first, and this high volume node here somewhere around 5820 area before it can come down to this 5800. And here on the SPY, notice that the SPY also came up here to the upper range and moved into it, but it closed right underneath it. It closed at 599.05. And basically last week we were talking about this area here, this high volume node, right? That would be possibly a possibility for the price to come up. And in addition to that, we're also talking about this low volume area here, this zone 580 and the 600 area. So we basically are looking at the price to make a move into the all-time high. So let's take a look at what the market is pricing in for the coming week. And here is what the market is pricing in for the coming week for the SPY. And it is pricing in a 609.70 and 608 on the upper range. And for the low range is between 590.30 and 587.50. Now, once again, we're going to move this composite to the present price here. And we could see that it filled in. It filled in this, that low volume dent here. And now it is forming a nice distribution here with the high volume of point of control right inside or pretty close to the upper edge of the lower range of the weekly expected move near this 590.30 area for the coming week. So what we're going to be watching is for the possibility of the price come down here to see would it be able to find support and then bounce back up into this upper range here and possibly try to move up to the all-time high. Now we do have a low volume area here that it need to probably get a little bit of a rejection coming up here and come up and then probably get a little bit of a pushback and test this point of control or this high volume node here at the 590. So what we're going to be watching, and let me put the zone back on here. So now with the zone on here, we see that the high volume node right here, this high volume zone right near the 590 area, and that is also in confluence with the lower range of the weekly expected move. So we could possibly look for the price to pull back in here to see would it be able to find support for pushes up here to get up to the upper range of the expected move near 609.70 and 608. That would be this high volume area here embedded between two low volume zones. Okay, so that is one of the possible scenario is for the price to come down and then push up after it tests for support at this 590. And the other scenario is that it just continue to push higher. right, get to this low volume zone and into this upper range. So those are the possibilities for the price. I do not believe we'll see this 570 in the coming week because that will take a lot of drop here. And I'd be surprised if we get down to that area. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a 580 into this little bit of a volume dent here in this area here for the SPY. Here, looking at the NQ, we see the NQ came up to the upper range of the expected move. And like the ES, it closed just right beneath it. But the other thing is on Thursday, you see actually it went to this upper range here. So what we're going to be watching for is to see would it continue to push up toward the all-time high in the coming week. And also notice that we have this low volume zone down here. And the weekly expected move from last week was pretty close to that level here, but the price never came down to this area. So let's take a look at and see what the market is pricing in for the coming week. And here's what the market is pricing in for the coming week. For the upper range is 22,275 and 22,205. The lower range is 21,414 and 21,275. And once again, the lower range is right near at this high volume node here. And this is the point of control of this composite volume profile. Now for the upper range, it's actually trying to, right here on this edge here, this volume edge right here. And it's basically is, pricing in into this area. We could see that this is a little bit of a balance area, right? There's a little bit of a balance area. And here's the point of control. Now, if I move the update the composite volume profile with the most recent price, you can see that the point of control did not shift that much. It still remains in this high volume area. So for the coming week, we're going to be watch the price to see would it come down here and test this high volume node and get some support and then push it up into the upper range of this weekly expected move and basically come up to this volume edge. Or will it unable to find support here and move to the lower range of the weekly expected move and possibly come down into this 20,700, 20,500 area, this low volume zone here. So that's basically what we're going to be watching for in the coming week for the NQ. Looking at the QQQ here, we see that the QQQ came up to this upper range of the weekly expected move. And basically it is this little bit of a low volume zone here. Now we also notice that the price actually came to this high volume node. And this is the composite point of control. It never came down to the low range or basically this low volume zone here. So here is what the market is pricing in for the coming week. It is pricing in a 542 and 539.60. And notice how I have put in the all-time high. So it is actually pricing in a new all-time high for the QQQ, while it did not price in a new all-time high for the NQ. So that's kind of curious. So we'll see what happened. But the thing is, it is pricing in a new all-time high. On the lower range is basically pricing in right here at this high volume zone here. And near this point of control, composite point of control between 520.20 and 517. So what we're going to be watching for the coming week in the term of the price action is to see what it pull back and finds the support here at this high volume node and then pushes back up into this low volume zone and into a new all-time high up at the 540 area. Or would it basically come down and fail to find support and pushes back down into this 510, 550, 505 area, this low volume zone here, to see would it be able to find support and then come back up into this 520 area. So those are the price action that we'll be watching for the coming week. And if you find this video to be informative and useful, be sure to smash that thumbs up to help me promote this video on YouTube. And if you are new to this channel, click the subscribe to help support this channel by subscribing to this channel. And be sure to go check out my newsletter, The Pulse of the Market at substack.com. And I have the link in the description below. The link is smtraderCA.substack.com. Thank you for watching and good luck on your trading.